I mean, is Cooper Rush worth 2.5 points? I would hope Quinn Ewers put up a decent stat line against Arizona State. If he didn't, we have a real problem.
You can say the same thing about Creighton. Okay, they had the one good game against Kansas at home.
When Toast talks about the kicking market, it's like some earth is flat shit. Andy, true or false, this is going to be a dog walking.
Dog walking. This is my dog walking of the day. I think it's going to be very ugly. Dog walking. I think this is going to be ugly.
Hey, get this sword.
And it goes to what we were saying before, that even through, if I have a little bit of a down stretch, people don't come for my throat. If I don't make picks, people still want to know what I'm on. Because the cardiology thing, it's the truth. Even when I'm getting smoked, most of that money's going to your fucking blood pressure doctor.
Good morning, everybody. Hope you're all having a nice Wednesday morning. I hope you all had a nice Tuesday night. It was a good one for me. It was a really good one, actually. So hopefully that positivity continues. We got 15 games on Wednesday, starting relatively soon. This first one is Rockies Marlins. This starts in 69 minutes exactly. So we'll start with this one. Colorado on the road to Miami. That being said, numbers gone. Long gone.
I won't go this far, and I said, hey-o!
We're on Marlins at minus 130 last night. You can't get that, so no point in even talking about it. Don't bet it at this number. John?
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I like the Marlins 130. I would not pay minus 155 for Quadrille. But if we are going to skip over it, I might as well pick your guys' brains because I get this a lot. People are blind hammering the Marlins to avoid the sweep. I usually counter with the nerdy quant argument that these things are fucking independent and the world doesn't work that way. But there are a lot of bettors, especially a lot of them are over the age of 50, but they're into this non-sweep thing, which I don't subscribe to. Maybe I would have at 130, but I wouldn't at minus 155.
Wasn't even a thought process of mine. I think somebody mentioned it when we were done, but it wasn't even a thought to me, honestly.
Yeah.
It was
I hear it a lot. I hear it a lot, not just because people are getting smoked in Survivor right now. Hey, people, you know what? That's shame on you for picking the Marlins when they suck just because the competition is bad. That's the truth, though, man. They're not really pitching right now. You know, Meyer hasn't looked good. Alcantara hasn't looked good. Marlins are hard to back.
All right, let's move on to there's no point. It's long gone. Next up is Brewers Reds. I bet this one you could still get this number. I'm still not 100% sure why you can get it, why this line hasn't moved towards Cincinnati. Andrew Abbott, significant starting pitching advantage at home here. The Reds bullpen is fine. I think maybe the market's just a little bit influenced by recency bias here. I know the Brewers have been better than the Reds in the last 10 days, but, I mean, over the course of the season, are we convinced that the Brewers are a significantly better team than the Reds? I mean, at the end of the year, are we expecting the Brewers to be 10 games above the Reds? I don't. So the fact that I'm getting the Reds at home at a short favorite with a significant starting pitching advantage, I'm going to take that. I mean, yes, the market's going to do a little bit of roller coaster based on who's hot and who's cold and all that. But the truth is, I think this will be a profitable bet to make over the course of the season, rather than getting caught up on who's hot right now and who isn't. Reds came through for me yesterday. I went right back to them. Like I said, market doesn't really agree with this one, though, because it's still sitting at the same number. John?
Yeah, I like the same move.
I take that back. It's up to minus 130 now. So
I was just about to say that. It's creeping up slowly but surely.
All right, so maybe the market does agree with me a little bit. It looks like if you look, you can still find a minus 124. So you could still get in this ballpark of a number. John, what do you think?
I think when Milwaukee pulled Priester for Hall, there was a little bit of that reaction, like kind of waiting for the dust to settle. Hall's pretty effective. I just not sure how far he's going to go. So they still need an answer for innings. I mean, I think he might have gone 3 innings in the last time out. I don't know. You think they push him to 4? He only threw 44 pitches. So I don't think you're going to get more than, let's call it one time through the order, if that.
Max.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. So, yeah, I like the Reds. I mean, we have the pitching advantage at home. The offense is a bit, of a roller coaster. We've gone through this with the Reds all year. I'd be pumping the brakes on the Brewers like you were alluding to, Kyle. There's some surface stuff going on. Yeah, they have a 345 WOBA the last 7 days, but a lot of the underpinning stuff is not great. They're still bottom 8 in hard hits, single-digit barrel rates. It's really not been great. They're a little bit too passive for my liking also. Yeah, give me the Reds at home. And Abbott looks like He's like he looks
He's
like
a
he could be like
stud.
a long-term answer. He's been
he's
really, really good.
certified.
The fly balls make me a little bit nervous in Cincinnati, but he's so very good at elevating that four-seamer up at the eye level so that ball doesn't go in the seats. It gets popped up. Again, people, if you're going to quote fly ball, make sure you're including infield flies because Abbott's a perfect example. The fly ball rate is absolutely through the roof at 55, but his infield fly rate is 13. Like, you have to account that not only these balls are like being
13's high.
launched. 13's incredibly high. Anything
Very
in the
high.
but
that's just the infield.
Anything in the double digits is high. And once you're over, it's almost like a walk rate, right? Wow, that's actually a good analogy. Walk rate. When you're at 10, you start getting worried. Every click over 10 is a order of magnitude beyond. So he gets a metric ton of pop-ups. Yeah, give me the Reds. I don't want to make it too complicated.
Yeah, so some Trevor is actually in the comments. So no Contreras here for the Brewers, which could explain the late live movement. Obviously helps us if you plan on betting the Reds. And John mentioned this, but DL Hall is just the opener. We always have to reiterate that because people are just looking at ESPN and seeing who's listed as the starting pitcher. It is DL Hall. He's just the opener. Quinn Priester is the primary. Now, like John said, they've been getting creative with these openers. We're seeing some of these openers go 2-3 innings, like a whole time through the order. So I feel like the usage of these openers is starting to evolve in front of our eyes. The opener is now one time through the order instead of one inning. It's starting to get a little interesting. Also, I mean, it makes sense to go time through the order, I guess. But yeah, so it is going to be.
Yeah, if you shove the top of the lineup, right, you might as well let him go after 5, 6,
exactly.
7, 8,
Why take him out? Especially if you only can trust Priester to go 70, 80 pitches. Why take him out? So yeah, it's going to be DL Hall and then Quinn Priester. But still, neither of those two arms scare me off my Cincinnati side here. So, Toast.
Yeah, can't agree more. Obviously, I played Cincinnati last night. I do want to say that I know that the Brewers' numbers versus left-handed pitching over the last couple of weeks and just the Brewers in general have looked good. I'm not trying to take anything away from them, but if you look at them versus lefty starters, I mean, they got to Jesus Luzardo, obviously. They absolutely destroyed him. But everybody else on that list going back to 420, not trying to make a pot joke, but going back to 420 when they faced Jacob Lopez, it's been 2 runs or less. And they have seen some pretty good arms. But I would argue, and I've kind of tried to been argue for the last couple of years, that Andrew Abbott's really, really good. And I know that he's dealt with some injuries and whatnot, but in Cincinnati, and I know that backing a pitcher like that a lot at home and stuff sucks, but he only goes out there and just continues to throw, and he goes deep into games as well. It's not like he's doing these 4 or 5 innings. He was dealing with that early, but I mean, 7 innings his last start, a couple 6-inning starts as well. It's just really hard for me not to like the Reds in this spot. And I haven't been betting the Reds a lot, but I do like them today.
All right, let's move on. Next up is Angels on the road in Boston. Last night I talked about this one. I mean, everything you're going to look at numbers-wise point towards an over here. Beautiful weather in Boston for scoring runs. You got slight wind blowing out. It's Fenway. You can always score runs in Fenway Park. You got the Angels, who inexplicably are one of the best road lineups in baseball this year. I don't get it. This lineup just continues to produce runs on the road. So on the road in Fenway against Giolito, I mean, you're not going to find much on paper to keep the Angels from getting to at least 4 or 5 runs here. And then the other side, Soriano, I mean, on the road at Fenway should be tough for him too. We know the Red Sox can score runs here. Angels bullpen is taxed. Everything points towards an over. I couldn't actually do it. 10's
It's almost probably going to be 11 by the time first pitch starts.
Is it up to 10.5 now?
It's 10.5 juiced to -115, -120 on some spots. Probably not 11, maybe, but I guess it's not. It is a morning game or whatever. But yeah, it would only be Boston for me. I said last night. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but I really kind of wanted to back Giolito here today. I'm not going to do it because of how good the Angels have been on the road. I'm still not sure if Angels pass the smell test on the road, but I know that their numbers look very, very good. I think we've talked about this. I think they're because they had a really good stretch for a week. But regardless, I mean, they have won 2 games in a row against Boston. But again, we've talked about this many times on the show. Boston's not a good home team. I know that everybody assumes it's Boston and Fenway Park, and they play well there. That's the exact opposite. They're barely a 500 team the last few years. So this isn't like just some new thing. This is going back a while now. So it's a heavy lean to Boston to me. I do think that Giolito could pitch well here today, but I just don't have the stones to actually do it. Not to mention the total continues to go up. I think the Boston bats at 4.5 or team total over 4.5 would be my better bet. So you don't have to worry about the pitching. But again, I'm just talking circles at this point right now. So it would be a Boston or pass.
John?
Yeah, I'm going to go the other way. I've been betting on the Angels recently. The model's been loving them. I would take them again today, though I would cut it to first 5. Right, Ken? You mentioned it briefly, but Jansen back-to-back. Don't think you're going to see him a third day in a row. Reed Detmers, who's been moving up in the pecking order as probably the top lefty. He went back-to-back, near 4 pitches. Neris went back-to-back, but also back-to-back and 3 of 4. I don't know if you're going to see him. Brock Burke, 2 of 3. Strickland didn't pitch, but 2 of 3. Brogdon's on 3 of 4. That bullpen is stretched really, really hard. That's it to the pitching side. Anytime you're betting on the Angels, it's going to make you a little nervous. I do think there are some good matchups here. Like if I were going to break down what the model is squinting to see here, it's Boston's offense has been struggling. In particular, they've just been an absolute ground ball machine. You know, during the last week, it's crazy. Oh, I'm sorry. I was even looking at it was 2 weeks, not even the last week. They have the worst ground ball rate in the league last 2 weeks versus righties, 350 PAs, 47 ground ball, 307 xWOBA. That happens to be Soriano's strength. The swing and miss stuff is non-existent. But if the Red Sox are also striking out. So if you are not going to be making tons of contact and putting it on the ground, that's a check mark for Soriano, who's also in a very strong home-away split. He has a nearly 6 ERA at home. He has a 2.03 ERA on the road. Flip side, Giolito gets the inverse. He has a 7.35 ERA at Fenway, 2.6 on the road. And Giolito's not striking batters out, which is the Angels' bugaboo, right? Giolito's been pitcher to contact. That's the only thing the Angels have really done well on offense. They're very hard to tout, guys, because they're all or nothing. Right, you get tons of strikeouts even when they hit the fucking ball. But if you're not going to strike them out and you're going to let them put the ball in play, they've done a lot of damage. Mike Trout is back. Rising tide lifts all ships and such. So, yeah, I like the Angels at the price. I think the offense probably goes to Boston by a touch, but they're slumping, and I think we might have the pitching edge. So I think I saw plus 120 on that F5. Man, I printed that this morning. It's now down to plus 101. As long as it's in front of it, I think I take it.
Yeah, nice. Plus 120 is a nice ticket to be holding.
Yeah, I shoved that one this morning, man. Hey, listen, even through my ups and downs, the market still has, people that are fucking have, kept their faith. Again, you could get all the CLV in the world. Doesn't mean you're going to cash that.
I really want to play over 10, but I don't because I'm afraid that Boston's going to score 4 runs or like 2 runs. Sorry.
Next up is Houston, Pittsburgh. And, man, if I pulled the trigger on that last night, I'd be sitting on a nice ticket right now. If you guys watch the Midnight Show, I kind of like the Pirates at plus 120. Can't bet it now. It's down to, let me get a current, plus 105. Plus 105, even plus 110, yeah. So, I mean, I was looking for more plus 125, plus 128 to pull the trigger. It was plus 120 last night. So, I mean, the market's probably completely efficient at this point. So I wouldn't bet it at this number, but I do think it's a favorable matchup for the Pirates. I think it's a sneaky spot for them to steal one. Gusto struggles against lefty bats, and the Pirates, although their lineup is trash, the dangerous bats in there are all going to be batting from the left side. O'Neal Cruz, Brian Reynolds, Spencer Horwitz up there batting from the left side. So the dangerous bats in the Pirates lineup are hitting from the left side. Ryan Gusto struggles against left-handed bats. So I actually think the Pirates could get the Gusto here. Pirates bullpen completely rested. They use Santana, but he's good to go. So the Pirates bullpen is in good shape. Look, I'm always down to fade the Astros bats on the road. They can score runs at home in Houston in the teacup. Can't score on the road. I think it's a sneaky spot. I think it's a sneaky spot to play the Pirates, but I would not touch it at this number. The move was to take the plus 120 last night. If you didn't get the plus 120, honestly, It might, if it gets down to like -120, I might even say it's probably a Houston bet, to be honest. So don't bet it at this number. John?
Yeah, I'm in one of those. I kind of disagree with you, but not really. I wouldn't have pulled the trigger. I liked Houston F5 when it was a little bit cheaper. Again, I kept it short because their bullpen, Hader's on 2 of 3, Abreu is on 2 of 3. I don't know if we're going to see him and how effective they're going to be. Again, I have Houston modeled for an F5 win, but I don't really believe in gusto. A lot of that play is kind of banking on Pittsburgh not being good, and they're not very good. The thing I picked up on was Burrows, who, again, could turn this around because he was having an excellent beginning of the season in AAA. Like, he's thought of as a pretty good pitcher. Doesn't mean you're going to succeed in your first go-around in the majors. He hasn't found the way to get out righties, and Houston is like the right-handed hitting team. It's probably 8, right? It's probably minimum 7, maybe
Hold
8.
on. Can I push back a little bit there?
Yeah.
Because obviously I saw the same thing, and that's alarming against the Astros with a bunch of righties. But what kind of a sample size are we talking about with the data for
No,
Burrows?
it's small, but it is a tough matchup, and the entire top half of the Astros lineup is started to rake. Right now, it's funny. Right now, they're a bit of a horse drawing. I just happened to see this because I was writing about Houston leading the day in scoring. While the offensive stats versus righties are not like jumping off the page, all of the top four guys, so that's what, Pena and Walker, Diaz, and Altuve all have like a plus 350, 360 ex-WOBA, last 30 versus righties. Long story short, the front of the lineup is seeing righties really well. That's what they've done. That's what Houston's done. So maybe I should just be leaning towards an over, if anything. But yeah, I had Houston modeled up when it was cheaper.
Toast?
I agree with you with Pittsburgh. Couldn't actually pull the trigger on the plus 120. I did play O'Neal Cruz over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs at -140. Just because he's obviously a lefty at the top of that lineup against Gusco, and he's going to get a whole bunch of at-bats, and he's on back-to-back days where he hasn't had a hit, so I do trust him there. But I was trying to get to Pittsburgh as well. I didn't yesterday. Yes, Burrows has really bad splits versus righty bats. You're going to see a whole bunch of righty bats in the Astros lineup. He's seen 15 plate appearances versus 19 plate appearances versus righty bats. So the sample size is extremely small. Burrows has also seen Arizona on the road and Milwaukee at home in the last 2 weeks, which are two of the hotter offenses in baseball right now. So Houston on the road doesn't really give me that scare as much. So I wouldn't be surprised if Burrows pitched well. Again, not enough there. Last night was plus 120. It still wasn't enough there to bet it, but it would only be Pittsburgh for me. So yeah.
He said he bet O'Neal Cruz overs for those of you looking to place a player prop. But all right, let's move on. Next up is Cubs Nationals. I don't want to say I was close to pulling the trigger on this one. There's a lot of moving pieces here. Kind of a challenging one to find a valuable angle. I honestly think Mackenzie Gore is going to pitch well. It should be a good matchup for him. The truth is the Cubs haven't been getting to lefty starters. I believe it's 6 or 7 in a row that they really struggled to get to. And it's kind of sneaking up on you here because the Cubs lineup has been so consistent and so good all year that when I pulled this up, I was actually a little bit taken back. Like, oh, shit. The Cubs really haven't gotten to lefty starters. Mackenzie Gore, dominant lefty starter. I don't think there's anything on paper to indicate he should get hit up here by the Cubs because he's been excellent and the Cubs haven't hit lefties. On the other side, I think it's a favorable spot for Matthew Boyd as well. That's lineup. I haven't trusted him against lefties all year. They haven't really been hitting at home all year. So I think both starting pitchers could pitch well. The reason I'm not holding an under ticket is the weather is beautiful here. It's beautiful for scoring runs. So even though I like the matchup for both pitchers, I'm not taking any sort of under in this weather. So just straight pass for me. I guess if you put a gun to my head, I'd probably take the Nats at this number, but I would need like plus 130 to even consider actually betting it. I see a first 5 under graphic here. Which one of you guys is that for?
Yeah, that was me, but I had to pull it. I didn't, I didn't pull the trigger on it. That was just where my lean was because of everything you said. I think we have effective pitchers. I don't want to say the Cubs offense is overrated. I just think they've been a bit misframed, and you nailed exactly why. But the weather in that ballpark, when it's blowing out, that ballpark can really carry. And even if the offenses haven't necessarily been incredible, there is a lot of talent on both sides of the ball here. So I like both of the pitchers a ton, man. If it wasn't for the weather, I'd be under the 4.5. But I have a feeling, Kyle, if it wasn't for the weather, the F5 would be U4 or maybe even 3.5.
Definitely.
Depending. So, yeah, this one, I don't like messing with the weather. 1 or 2 fly balls that shouldn't go out that do blows your bet.
Yeah, I mean, I think with this pitching matchup, if it wasn't for the weather, this total would be 8s across the board, maybe even juice to the under. Toast is on a bet here, and he went over.
Yeah. Nationals team total over 3.5 for me.
Oh, okay.
I actually like this one a lot. First of all, I'm not in the same boat that I worry about the Nationals at home. Going into the last couple weeks, they had been producing pretty well at home. They ran into a buzzsaw where they saw Spencer Strider, Landon Rupp, AJ Smith-Shawver, Robbie Ray. So again, I do think that there's a little bit of they haven't been producing as well at home, but they've also seen some pretty damn good pitching. And I've been on record saying that Boyd's really good, and I do believe that. But there is a big but behind it. He struggles with lefty bats. He's going to see 7 lefty bats in the lineup today, at least, maybe only 6, but 6 or 7 lefty bats in the lineup today in a fantastic weather. Not to mention the fact that Mr. Boyd hasn't been as dominant on the road. And if he only goes 5 or 6 innings, and then I get multiple shots at this Cubs bullpen, who I'll give you rested and ready to go, all that, still not a unit that I really trust. I just thought that 3.5 was a little bit too low. So this number is still pretty much available. You might be able to get this better number. I'm not sure, but I do like the Nat. I like this bet a lot. I'm not really worried about the Nats getting to Matthew Boyd personally. So we'll see what happens, but I do like the Nats.
All right, let's move on. The weather certainly helps you out.
Yes,
yeah.
that was a big factor as well.
And then that's bullpen. Although they pitch a little better as of late, I think nature will heal.
Cleveland on the road in New York.
We killed this one.
Yeah, we got this one. We got this one good. So for those of you that watched last night, hopefully you got in on this with us. Me and Toast grabbed 8.5. You can't. It's 9 now. You can't get that anymore. So we nailed this one. Actually on ESPN Bet you still can get a -135, 8.5. So for those of you who want to pay, but yeah, I'm on the over 8.5. Go ahead, Toast.
For me, it's just there's a couple things. I don't know what to think of this. I'm really not worried about this Yankees offense, especially at home against Luis Ortiz. But I just wanted to say that Ortiz has been pitching a lot better than people give him credit for. My issue is that when he pitches well, it's usually at home. His last 3 road starts, Detroit, Cincinnati, and Washington, went into the 5th inning in all 3 of those, or just past the 5th inning in all 3 of those, but nothing really fantastic. And I get that I like to talk about this Yankees team a lot, but at the same time, I'm at home with decent weather here today. I'm not really worried about the Yankees as far as scoring runs. And then as far as Clark Schmidt is concerned, I mean, look at the splits versus lefties for Clark Schmidt. Of course, I just clicked out of it, so now I don't have it in front of me. There it is. 346 WOBA, 143 FIP, 495 XFIP. And if there's one thing that we know about Cleveland, obviously, it's loaded up with a whole bunch of lefty bats. Not to mention the fact that Ortiz really struggles with lefty bats as well. So Grisham, Bellinger, Chisholm, Austin Wells. There's a lot of opportunities for the Yankees today here to score some runs. So I don't think that the bullpens were any trouble besides Devin Williams was going to be the only one, but I do think that could be looming big for the Yankees because remember they don't have Luke Weaver either. So Devin Williams is going to be most likely unavailable. There's no way he pitches 3 of the last 4 days. And then Mark Leiter pitched 16 pitches yesterday. They did bring Fernando Cruz back, but he didn't pitch yesterday. He's going to be coming off from the IL. So it's going to be guys like Fernando Cruz, Jonathan Laghezza, Tim Hill closing this game for the Yankees. So Cleveland's bullpen is rested and ready to go, but it is what it is. But yeah, I like this over.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they need a sales pitch on the Yankees hitting off Luis Ortiz. They absolutely crushed him the last time they saw him. But really, it's on the other side. I think that's what gets us to the over. The Cleveland bats against Clark Schmidt. Clark Schmidt struggles against lefty bats. Cleveland is nothing but lefties. And even though they've been terrible, earlier in the season, this was a very good road lineup. You got beautiful weather in the Bronx, slight wind blowing out to left field. I think Cleveland can contribute is the reason. And like Toe said, no Devin Williams. There's no Luke Weaver. It's a very limited Yankees bullpen. So we got the 8.5 at 9. If you can get a plus 100, I think it might be still worth the shot. What do you think, John?
Yeah, I went a different route, but I think we could pretty much meet up together at the end.
Would love to.
I like the Yankees to cover the first 5 run line, just as I think they smoke Ortiz, even if the Guardians get to the Clark bar a little bit. Who I've just got to stick up for my boy. I mean, lefties are batting 218 off him this year. I mean, he's only given up 4 home runs. Is not great, but it's not anywhere near the worst splits on the board. A lot of the WOBA comes from the walk rate. Not to say that that's an answer to lefties, and not say it's a good thing, but a lot of the negative stuff for Schmidt v. lefties is the 16% walk rate against lefties. Anyway,
I mean, the 450 slug doesn't help.
I mean, I got 28-8 hard hit on Fangraphs, 4 homers, 40 ground ball. It's like I said, it's not atrocious. There's a lot. It could be a lot worse.
Fair. I'll give you that.
I mean, but again, you could get to your over with me getting the Yankees across through 5. That's why we're not really disaligned. Good point on the bullpen. That was why I cut it to F5 and not full game, because Clark does have a habit of walking lefties that could stretch out the count, shorten his workload, in which case they're going to turn the game over to insert reliever you never heard of here. So yeah, I like the Yankees early, but you could definitely get me to 9. I love the 8.5 though.
All right, let's move on to the next one, which is Phillies Blue Jays. Man. John, why don't you take this one? I have no freaking idea. I think it would be the Phillies at this price, but could Mick Abel do that again? He pitched great. What do you think, John?
Yeah, that's where I went. I went with the Phillies and Abel. I've never really been a Berrios guy. Abel pretty much is the truth. Like, if you do any kind of fantasy dynasty prospecting and stuff, he's so legit, man. He is like a. But if we get there, right, providing he stays healthy, Philadelphia's also shown the ability, something we talk about all the time, to maximize output from your pitchers, right? To make sure you're getting the most out of them, whether it be mechanical or tweaking arsenals and stuff. So I have that faith to get the boost, and he shoved. He's a freaking strike-throwing machine. I mean, listen, I'm all about Mick Abel. The point of failure would have to be the Toronto offense, who has definitely been really hot as of late, and they've even hit righties as of late. So I'm just going to need Abel to kind of do his thing, but it's also the Phillies offense has looked great. We've talked about how volatile is really the word I was looking for. They've been, when they start hitting, I tend to jump on the Phillies for that reason. And again, I've just never been a Berrios guy. To me, he comes across as a negative regression candidate. The 3.860 ERA, I'm not buying. All the indicators right. Probably 4.5 or worse. He has a 12% barrel rate, and he struggled against lefties as well a little bit. The Phillies chock full of them. Bryce Harper's back and hit a ding-dong. So I think the Phillies are getting ready to surge. Also, Turner with the double dong, right? When these big names start really get going, I don't like to challenge that stuff. I think they smoke Berrios today.
I can't disagree with the word you said there. And it looks like the roof is going to be open here in Toronto. And this is a crazy roof, man. We're seeing all kinds of runs in this ballpark.
No, seriously.
Yeah. So,
no, yeah.
Yeah, I know. I don't get it on time, man. It's not out early enough.
It's not. It never is. They don't do it like Chase Field. They do it like on a day-by-day basis. There's a Twitter account. I think you're the one that told me about the Twitter account.
I was mentioning it to you.
Yeah, that's the only way. Like, I haven't figured it out. I'm on the Phillies team total over 4.5. I got it at even money. Yeah, I got it at even money. I do like Mick Abel. I know that he's a really highly touted prospect. What is he, a top 10, top 15 pick for the Phillies a couple years back or whatever? So in the first round, I know he's an Oregon kid, so you can probably trust him. But regardless, I just wanted to continue to figure out ways to bet on the Phillies bats. So Berrios significantly worse at home so far this year. Obviously, they just talked about he struggles versus lefties. Stott, Harper, Schwarber, Kepler, all lefties. Marsh, who cares? He strikes out all the time, as my wife would say. But regardless, I think this is a really good spot for a Phillies team that's starting to, I think they're starting to surge. 7 runs on Saturday, 8 runs on Tuesday. They lost, obviously they lost the game with them when they scored 7 runs, but regardless, they're still scoring. I think they absolutely smoked Berrios. I was playing this with the roof closed regardless. Now with the roof open, that makes me love this bet even more. It's probably one of my favorite bets of the day.
I don't know. I think you guys are S-ing the D of the Phillies offense a little hard. I mean, they're 17th at WRC plus in the last 14 days. Let's relax.
Well, they're also a top 5.
Let's not forget that they just lost 4 in a row. We were all making fun of them. That just happened. It wasn't like weeks ago. It just happened. I mean,
Milwaukee's one of the hottest teams in the league right now. I'll give them credit.
I had no problem fading them yesterday. They're pretty much considered one of the hottest teams in the league, specifically because they beat the Phillies. It would only be over, but it's because of the roof. John's on the. I'm sorry, John's on the first 5. I guess I had the wrong graphic up. John's on the Phillies' first 5.
Yeah, I don't really trust their bullpen, but I would have taken the money line also either way.
All right.
I think they beat the Blue Jays. I don't trust the Blue Jays offense as far as I can throw them either.
Their bullpen's rested for everybody that's rested. Who cares too?
Romano,
and I was like the Hoffman guy when we started the season.
Diamondbacks on the road in Atlanta. I hate Toast pick in this one. Go ahead.
Love it.
Think this is a terrible pick. Go ahead.
I didn't even bet anything yet. What did
We all know what you're going to say. You said it last night. It makes no sense. Just go ahead.
It would only be Arizona for me because getting this Arizona team at this number makes absolutely no sense. I don't understand this number. So, obviously, we can just go through it. So Chris Sale, pitching pretty well. Yes. Give him 100% credit. No question about it. And there's a big but behind it. Looked good against Philadelphia. Philadelphia definitely has some lefty bats. That was a doubleheader game. If you want to give him credit for that, give him credit for that. But if you keep on going down the list, as I did last night, Chris Sale faced the Padres, no real lefties you have to worry about. Then he faced a Boston team with Duran and Devers. If you get past them, there's no really lefties you have to worry about. Pittsburgh, the same type of situation. No real lefties you have to worry about. If you want to give him credit for Cincinnati, I don't. But if you want to give him credit for guys like TJ Friedel, Ellie De La Cruz, that probably can't hit from the left side to save his life, maybe Will Benson. If you want to give him credit for that, go ahead, crown him. That's fine with me. But then he faced Colorado and then this Arizona team, which they've already seen, this Arizona team that he saw in the middle of April. I'm sorry, the late part of April. And he looked really good against them. That was like an absolute desperate spot for the Braves. So I truly think that Arizona can get to him. I think that he's been pitching really, really good, but I think the competition definitely hasn't been there. And this is going to be the biggest test he's seen since he's probably seen this Arizona lineup earlier this year with Marte, Carroll, Grichuk, who can hit left-handed pitching, Josh Naylor, a lefty as well. Perdomo can hit from the switch-hand side. So I just feel like if there's a team that can give Chris Sale some issues, it's going to be Arizona. And as far as Merrill Kelly is concerned, 2 bad starts back-to-back. I mean, on the road at St. Louis, but St. Louis has been kind of killing right-handed pitching. So, again, 6 innings, 4 runs isn't anything special. And then comes home against a red-hot Washington team and gets absolutely blown up. I'm just not in a position where I feel like this Braves team should be – their offense should be – looked at as something spectacular, and they're laying minus 170. Like, it just doesn't really make sense to me. Like, I feel like this number should be 130, minus 130, minus 140 type of situation. Atlanta has everybody rested and available in their bullpen behind Chris Sale. That's cool. Arizona has everybody rested and available behind Merrill Kelly besides Shelby Miller. So Shelby Miller has been really good this year, but at least we have Martinez and Beeks. So I haven't bet this. I wanted to see what this number did over the morning. So you can get plus 150 on BetMGM. That's the only way I would look at it. I think this is a grossly underpriced game for the Snakes, just because they haven't really played well over the last 2 weeks or so. But I think this price is egregious, personally.
John.
Yeah, I need a donkey sound effect because Toast made all the best arguments against mine.
Those were not good arguments. Those were horrible arguments.
The donkey. Well, no, I think the
Put up
first.
Atlanta.
I think the lead. I think the jab was the knockout because sometimes it's just that simple. Is Arizona is probably just too good to be a 150 dog to just about anybody. You know, and they're still plus 145. I went the complete other way because you guys know I've been on with you every time Sale pitches. I knobbed this guy. Love freaking Chris Sale. I was backing his skinny ass, the fucking olive oil, back when he was getting shelled. I was all about it. He checks all the freaking boxes. He's so freaking good. I love him. And the last 30 days, we've seen that kind of Cy Young caliber guy. I was talking about 111 ERA, 105 whip, 297 Sierra, last 30. Merrill Keller, who I don't love, I think has 2 strikes against him here. Number one, he's been a little bit of a different pitcher on the road. Number two, Toe started to sniff around it. He didn't spike the ball home for me. It's starting to feel a little competition-based. Now, 2 bad starts in a row, I do agree with. And if you're pitching a buy low spot, he did have one of my, big eyebrows up in the air. That said, Washington, St. Louis, he mentioned they hit righties. He shoved Colorado. He shoved the Giants on the road. No, he shoved the Giants even though they were at home. They're not great. The Mets got to him. The Yankees kind of shelled him. He shoved Baltimore. He shoved the Marlins. He seems to have the Cubs number. That's like a different argument for another day. But Kelly might be coming across to me as a competition-based guy. And also, I've been apologizing for the fucking Braves offense all year. They have whipsawed more bettors than any other team. Every time you think they're getting going, they kind of go in the shitter for a couple days. Then they'll go out and score 8-9 runs, and it's Acuna, and it's Matt Olson. You're like, oh my God. It's the argument I was making before. When the stars start to hit, you want to, get behind the rocket ship until you start to hear a sputtering sound. So I'm back beyond the Braves. Again, you mentioned it, although I'm going to make the same argument as you, Toast, but in the other direction. I think not having Shelby Miller, even though he's the only unavailable arm, I think that really hurts the Diamondbacks because their bullpen really kind of sucks. And that even bears out in all the macro numbers. I think they're, bottom 5 in Sierra, 11% walk rate. They've taken 5 losses in the last 2 weeks. They don't really have a great answer in the back of the game. So, yeah, give me Sale to shove for 7, hand off to the rest of the bullpen. Braves cover at plus 120, I think I got.
So, yeah, I want to start by saying I think the number's about correct. So I didn't bet it. But, of course, the Braves should be minus 170 favorite. If they were hanging Braves at minus 150, I would bet Atlanta. I think this number's right about where it should be. Sale's been absolutely dominant. Toast is talking about the competition. What? He went to Philadelphia, went to Fenway. I'm
pretty sure I detailed that about the lefty bats. It's not like I just said he's playing bad competition. You act like I didn't even look at it. What about when he went to
Arizona? This team.
Yeah, and I mentioned that. That was after Atlanta had lost 70 games in a row. Congratulations. They finally played well. Congratulations.
There's just not, Chris Sale hasn't really been got to all year. There's just nothing here to get the Arizona Diamondbacks are going to hit Chris Sale. He looks dominant right now. Not to mention, we're worried about lefty bats. No, Chris Sale's going to throw 7 innings, probably 11 strikeouts in this game. Merrill Kelly, I like him at home in the desert. Don't like him on the road. Agree. It's Braves comfortably. I can't bet it at minus 174. Laying 1.5 with the home team, you're going to be robbed of 3 outs. Even at the plus 120, I can't get there either. So I can't sit here and tell you the Braves is some excellent bet. Because they are expensive, but in my opinion, they're expensive for a reason, and the number's about perfect. This market's pretty efficient. Braves should win comfortably. Next.
And for the record, Chris Sale was shit the first month. He's been good this month. It's not like he's been good all year. So
shit? He was shit? All right. Range.
You're not even going 5 innings and giving up 4 and 5 runs. Is that good?
He had 2 bad starts.
I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But okay.
Rangers on the road in Tampa. We talked about this one last night. I don't understand. I'm not betting this shit because something's going on. Why are we getting the Rays at minus 1?
Yeah, John, can you help us? I don't understand. We said the same thing. Yeah,
I'm not allowed. I shouldn't be allowed to bet on either of these guys. They're both like again. When I'm a hardcore fucking pitching degenerate. and I love all the sexy, nerdy stuff. And these guys are just going to blow up all your analysis because you can't help but love Baz and Kumar Rocker on like a per pitch basis, right? Meaning like if you need, give me a short list of guys to throw you the filthiest single pitch you could find. These guys are on the short list. That's it. They've both really kind of stunk. I don't know. Rocker, again, has more like arm side horizontal movement than anybody in the league across the entire arsenal. And it's effective. But he's not been great with it. It's weird because you want to say he's not been able to control it, but the walk rate has been low, but he doesn't get the cold stuff over because he's not convincing anybody. It's just, again, I can't be allowed to bet on either one of these guys. So I really faded it. I'm assuming the play is probably over 9. I think I went with Tampa F5
John,
because of what you guys were alluding
Weather,
to.
John. Did you see the weather?
It's down to 8.5 now. We're taking Texas money and under money.
What the hell is going on here?
Yo,
no, I don't want that.
Like,
I don't want that thumb in my coolie. So I'm just leaving it. Again, we've been bashing the Rangers offense all year. Now Adolis is gone. The last 7 days have been one of the worst in the league. Though, if anything, I had a Jake Berger home run pop up on my hitter model this morning. I can't get behind this one. I'd like to watch it. I want to see Boz has been good the last couple games, and I'd like to see if he kind of, runs with that. We get some continuity, but this ballpark's hard to pitch in, and with weird weather, I don't know what to make of it.
I mean, clearly there's some kind of angle for a Texas bet that we're missing. We're talking about just on the surface here, and this is not exaggerated. We're talking about in the last 2 or 3 weeks, one of the hottest lineups in baseball at home against one of the coldest lineups in baseball. I'm literally talking about top 3 lineup against bottom 3 lineup in the last 3 weeks.
In fact, Kyle, by WRC Plus, I think you have number 1 in the Rays, and you don't have number 30 because the Rockies exist, but you have number 29.
So in the last 3 weeks, number 1 versus number 29, the hottest lineup in baseball against one of the coldest, if not the coldest, at home with the starting pitching advantage. What on God's green earth? I mean, this should be minus 160. So clearly there's something I'm missing.
At least 40, at least. Minus 140, 45, maybe 42.
I don't know. So it would only be raised at this number, but there's something I'm missing here. So.
You know what's funny? I'm noticing the F5 is minus 145. So that tells you it's like a bullpen thing, right?
I guess,
just kind of intuitively.
The Rays used most of their guys yesterday, but every single one of them besides Uketa had 3 or 4 days off.
Yeah, so what? Fairbanks is good, so is Clevenger, I think.
And it's not like the Texas bullpen is anything to write home about. It's not like
I don't like them at all, to be honest.
This makes no sense to me either, guys. You can put up the race for me. I won't bet it, but I can't really add anything else than what these guys said. But I will say that Baz has been pretty damn good against lefties, struggles versus righties. Josh Smith, Corey Seager, Evan Carter, all lefties. So again, the bigger bats or the bats that you might worry about versus against Texas, are definitely lefties. So that's a positive thing for Baz. And then same thing with Rocker. I mean, the opposite. Again, really bad versus lefties, really bad versus right, are really good against righties, and you have a Tampa Bay that's Lowe, Lau, Aranda, Magnum, Kisner that all can bat from the left-handed side. So I guess unless you're trying to make a case that because the Rays bullpen worked yesterday that they're just in a huge disadvantage in the back half of this game, which is crazy to think considering we know how bad this Rangers offense is. It's only Tampa for me. This game makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
Strange stuff.
Next, Tigers on the road in Chicago.
Who's pitching? Keeps changing. I had Gibson Long. I had Burke. I've been seeing guys coming down and going up on the boards. I don't know what the hell's going on.
I think you're going to get I think someone's opening for Burke and Gibson Long is going to start for Detroit is what I think is going to happen. All
right, now I'm seeing Mike Vassell is going to open.
He's the primary, yes.
I have nothing for this game. So if you guys want to talk about it.
don't have anything either. I don't hate a Detroit -1.5 coming off of a loss. I know that that's stupid and not how you cap games, but I don't expect Detroit to lose 2 in a row. Gibson Long hasn't been terrible. His 2 road starts, again, it's been a long time. I think 2023 or 2024, but he wasn't absolutely terrible. Again, you're kind of grasping at straws here, but it would only be the Tigers for me. Yeah.
John?
I was the other way, but again, I have no commitment here. Just because if you follow any of my stuff, I generally like to fade pitchers their first time out. Gibson Long is not a bad. He's not a bad pitcher. He's having a nice season in the minor leagues, and he's thought of as being like a pretty good pitcher. Definitely an above average guy. Probably projects to be like a solid SP3 or really good SP4. That said, again, I just don't like guys in the debut. And the White Sox offense has shown a little bit of life. We were getting them at a really good price. And Burke had been turning it around a touch, but I wouldn't touch this one. I don't like the herky-jerk of numbers going up and down and names going in and out. And it's not like you have that much confidence in the White Sox. So, yeah, I'd just back away from this one.
Also, Detroit used pretty much everybody in their bullpen yesterday besides the top 2 arms. So, again, there's just kind of hard to lay that number with that team right now.
Kansas City on the road in St. Louis. Toast, we got a bet here.
Yes, we do.
I
actually like this one a lot, actually.
Can you still get our same number? I didn't even look.
Yeah, it's like 10, maybe like 5 or 10 cents off, but yeah, pretty much still should be able to get pretty close to the same number, if not the same. Maybe not 105, probably 110, but yeah.
For those of you that watched Midnight, you know what Meat and Toast are talking about. We got the first 5 under 4.5 at -105 last night. So we both had the over in this game last night or yesterday, which was
sweat-free, baby.
Sweat-free, yeah. I didn't even have to watch any of this game. Our overcast in like the 3rd inning. Weather was a lot different. It was a very, very nice day for scoring runs in yesterday's game. That's not really the case today. It's the wind slightly blowing in towards first base. It's also a chance of rain. The weather's not very nice here in St. Louis for this one, but it's not just a bet on the weather. Noah Cameron is a monster, dude. He is so good. He's absolutely dominant. And the Cardinals against lefty bats, we cashed some tickets on them. Rewind 2 or 3 weeks ago, we were playing on the Cardinals against lefties. It's kind of dead. This is a below-average lineup against lefties in the last few weeks. They're struggling to get the lefty starters. So the Cardinals against lefties, not quite the same as it was a few weeks ago. I'm not saying they're a bad lineup against left-handed pitching, but they're not a play-on lineup against lefties anymore, at least not right now. Maybe they'll heat up again at some point. So Noah Cameron already pitched against this team, absolutely shut them down. I think he's going to do it again. I like this kid. And on the other side, it's the Royals. I get it. It's Michaelis, but you know what? Michaelis finds a way to get outs. He always has. He just continues to find ways to make outs, and the Royals are not a team that's going to make that difficult. If I'm more worried about the Royals ruining this first 5 under than I am the Cardinals. I'll put it that way. But yeah, I'm on the F5 U4.5 -105.
I will say the reason that I'm not worried about Michaelis is he is at home with the weather not being great, and that's 2 positives for me. On top of the fact that he's pretty damn decent against right-handed bats, it's the lefty bats that he struggles with. So as long as he can get away from Vinny and the rookie Caglione, or however you say his name, I think he should be fine, because then you only have to worry about like Massey and Isabel as far as lefty bats in that Kansas City lineup. So I think that he should be fine. Kyle talked about St. Louis. Again, they were somewhat decent, or they were pretty good versus lefties, but over the last month and 2 weeks, they've kind of fallen off of a cliff. And they also haven't been hitting well at home either. 26th in WRC plus, 28th in WOBA over the last 14 days at home. And like he said, Noah Cameron's been absolutely fantastic. Do I think that Noah Cameron's going to absolutely blank St. Louis again and go 6 innings of 1 run? I don't know, but I have a hard time believing that St. Louis just absolutely kills this kid, especially with the weather. On top of the fact that we had 17 runs yesterday, I like to play unders after a whole bunch of runs scored and a weather change and whatnot. So yeah, first 5 under. I like this one a lot too. I think me and Sauce both have a full unit on it.
No, 0.75 for me. It's actually my smallest bet of the day, but I'm in. I like it. I bet it.
Never mind.
John?
This is another one. I went a different route, but I think we are pretty much aligned here. I got Casey first 5 plus 110. which has now moved in my direction. I think it's like minus 101, minus 102, which I would still take. Anything under probably minus 105, minus 110. I think I like it. I think we have the clear pitching edge. You mentioned it. Now, I know I threw a little bit of shade at our boy Cameron the last time I met up with you guys. That said, and one of the reasons why I love to do some detailed pitching stuff sometimes is, and again, this speaks to organizations that get the most out of their pitchers and recognize what the fuck is going on. KC on that list now. Look what they did to Reagans. Look what they did to Bubich. Like, they're literally pulling guys off the fucking scrap heap from bullpens that no one wants. And they're like, I'm going to make this guy a frontline fucking ace right now. So you got to have confidence in the Royals. That pitching organization deserves a lot of credit. My beef with Cameron, initially, if you guys remember, was the fastball is the worst pitch in the arsenal, and he was throwing it too much. That has dropped usage. Well, check this out. My start. 35, 33, 25. We're now down to under 20. The other pitches in his arsenal, all 4 pitches in the arsenal, I think have a plus 25 whiff rate. It's actually higher than that. It's a plus 29 whiff rate, which, again, just to put in perspective, 25 being good, 29 is where excellent starts. He has a full, robust arsenal of pitches that induce whiffs that he could throw against both-handed hitters, cutter and changeup to righties, curveball, slider to lefties. Fucking Miles Michaelis. How does he keep getting away with this? I swear.
He's crafty, bro. He's crafty.
He's a crafty vet.
There's another clump of hair missing from my fat fucking head every time Michaelis goes out on the bump and shoves. He has a 3.9 ERA. His Sierra is creeping up near 5. He's a 7 KBB, 6% swinging strike, 91 zone contact, and a 44 fly ball with a double-digit barrel rate. And we still can't get to this guy. I literally befuddled, bemused. I can't get over it. So I do think he probably gets enough done because I think Cameron actually shoves the Cardinals. So I like the unders, but yeah, I was really surprised to see the pitching edge. What I think is at least a neutral order, right? A neutral kind of lineup situation, Royals and Cardinals, to get plus money for a kid like Cameron.
All right, let's move on.
John's going off, and all I see in the comments is, "I love this effing show."
Someone said John is the mozzarella.
Somebody get me Bill fucking Gates, fucking Windows 98, son of a bitch. I swear to I feel about Michaelis. I transform into a South Park cartoon. I'm just fucking curse my brain. It kills me. And you watch him, and you're like, oh, it's crazy. It's like softball. Oh,
it's crafty, bro. Someone said John.
Oh my god, I knew you were gonna do that to me. I'm gonna throw up.
John is the mozzarella. John is the mozzarella.
The Mutz King of Brooklyn.
Baby. The Mutz. Orioles on the road in Seattle will play the Mariners. Shout out Baltimore plus 136 last night. That was sweet. Not sweat free, but they were winning pretty much the entire game. So yeah, and that was a great one. Plus 136 that closed at like plus 110. Awesome. What do we think? I mean, you guys know what I think. I talked about it last night. I couldn't actually get there in terms of placing the bet. We're in Seattle. I think this should be a flat 8, so it would be an under 8.5. But I couldn't actually get there because, I mean, Trevor was right. He was talking about it last night. It hasn't quite been the same Seattle this year. They're actually one of the most profitable over ballparks in baseball. I would stand here and say that's not going to last. Runs don't get scored here. So, like I said, I think this should be a flat 8. Cade Povich has been serviceable. Emerson Hancock actually looked all right in his last time out. I don't think these starting pitchers are nearly as bad as their names appear to be. I just think it should be a flat 8. So 8.5, it would be under for me, but I couldn't actually pull the trigger on it. John?
I kind of share the sentiment, but I took the plus money with Baltimore on the first 5. I think I share the sentiment. I think both of these kids are a lot better, at least in the surface stats would show, right? Povich, 5.3 ERA, 1.5 whip. Hancock's 5.6 ERA, 1.6 whip. But Povich has the Sierra in his kind of bag. I think the disciplinary approach is a little bit better. He's kept the ball down, and he's actually been pretty good on the road. He has a really, really stark home-away split. 7.25 ERA at home, 2.8 ERA on the road. And right now, the Mariners offense has just absolutely bottomed out the last 7 days. They're dead last in just about everything. They're batting .213, 580 OPS, dead last in line drive, 69 WRC plus over the last 220 team plate appearances. So I think Povich just does enough. I'm not going to do what everyone thinks I'm going to do and tout the Orioles offense. But hopefully they just get me one against Hancock.
What do you think, Toast?
For me, it'd be Baltimore. I think I might play them. There's still a plus 108 on FanDuel. I hope it's there. You guys are fucking stupid. But I just don't I really don't understand why Baltimore is plus money, if I'm being dead honest. Like, if you want to make a small case that maybe because the bullpen, they're not going to have Baker and Batista went yesterday, I guess, sure. But at the same time, I mean, Povich has been pretty damn decent on the road. I know I talked about this vaguely last night, but I mean, on the road at Washington, on the road at Minnesota, on the road at Boston. I mean, Minnesota got to him, but he went 6 2/3, 1 run in Washington. He went 5 innings, 1 run. On the road in Boston. And this, like John just mentioned in detail, this Mariners offense has been terrible. So I have a hard time believing that Cade Povich is just going to get absolutely smacked around here. And then as far as Emerson Hancock is concerned, I give him a lot of credit. I mean, he's been going deep into games and giving the Mariners a chance to win. I mean, going consistently going essentially 6 innings every time he goes out there. I know he had a couple one road start where he didn't go 6 innings against San Diego, but besides that, he's been pretty good. But I mean, this Baltimore offense, I mean, they're starting to hit like the Baltimore offense that we once knew and love. I mean, especially versus right-handed starters. So, again, the right-handed starters competition level hasn't been fantastic, but I don't really know how much to put how far to put Emerson Hancock up on that list either. So I think that Baltimore has an advantage or besides in every part in this game, except for maybe the bullpen situation. But yeah, it would only be Baltimore for me. I don't hate your under, by the way.
I mean, the move was to take it last night. It's Toast was talking about taking Baltimore plus 115 last night. That would have been the bet. At current, it's probably gone.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's move on to.
If you can get the 108 on FanDuel, if it's still hanging there.
Oh, you can. Oh, there's still a plus 108 out there.
I can't. I don't know if it's active,
dude. No, it's not, dude. It's almost a pick 'em now. FanDuel,
yeah, it is. Wow,
it's basically a pick 'em.
Oh yeah, it's way gone. So forget what everything I said. Just pass.
Tony, I have a plus money on the F5. Still, I got a plus 103 live F5, which is a little unusual.
I have the same. I have minus 120 on the F5 everywhere. FanDuel as plus 104. So obviously my FanDuel thing isn't updating.
To be honest, the way it's moving, like this is like wait till first pitch. If I get like
spot.
Mariners at plus 100.
If I can get Mariners plus 100, I might take that. Yeah, I don't hate that. That's especially in the game that we both think is probably going to go under anyway. It's probably a coin flip.
Yeah, that's what, like we said. Toast was saying he liked Baltimore last night. I think it was plus 113 at the time. Yeah. It's moved considerably since then. Padres on the road at San Francisco. I'm embarrassed to say what my favorite bet is in this game. I didn't bet it because I have respect. I just lost with this exact bet last night. Literally just lost. I think it goes over 7. I just lost with an over 7.5 last night. I almost got lucky in extra innings. It wasn't even close. This was 1-0 the entire game. My over was a terrible bet. It was my only loss yesterday, so I went 5-1. Awesome night, but this was the one loss, and it wasn't even close. I still think this number is just a little too low. I think the Giants are going to score, and I know the bats have been cold, but we've said it all year. The Giants hit at home. They don't hit on the road. They went on this long road trip, and their bats went cold, right? They've only been back home for 2 games, and the first one, they flew across the country without a day off. So, in my opinion, the sample size of the Giants not hitting at home is literally 1 game. You have that one weird game where they flew across the country. I don't care about that. Just yesterday, that's the only game that I think was the first time our position of the Giants can hit and score runs at home. It only didn't work in 1 game, in my opinion. So I'm going to need to see the Giants struggle to hit for at least 2 or 3 games at home before I could say that's dead. So I think the Giants can score. Kyle Harrison, I think he's down to give up a run or 2. We're talking about a 7 here. We're also talking about, I believe, was the Giants bullpen in this situation?
Yes, both of them. You can pull them both up. Both bullpens you can pull up.
Yep, that was another thing.
I just played this, by the way, in the morning when I woke up. Over 7. Yeah, over 7 minus 118.
Well, here are the bullpens. You're not going to see Duvall.
Bring up all that color. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you're not going to see Duvall. You're not going to see Eric Miller. You might see Tyler Rogers, but he's overworked. You're not going to see Estrada. So I mean,
Eric
I'm not
Miller.
worried. I'm not worried about the Padres bullpen. I'm looking here. No Duvall, no Eric Miller. Those are two of their. Those might be their two most reliable arms. Them or Tyler Rogers. But Tyler Rogers is overworked also. So I think the Padres could contribute also. Damn, are you gonna make me bet this?
So okay,
bet
so
this?
I know. I just wanted to make a point on that Padres bullpen while you had it up, or you just had it up, and everybody remembers it. So yes, Suarez and Adam didn't work yesterday, but previous to that, they had worked 3 of the last 4 days. And if they're in a situation, you're not going to see those guys unless, I mean, it's like the Padres are up 1 in the bottom of the ninth. In the bottom of the ninth. Like, I have a hard time believing you're going to see Suarez and Adams today. Those guys need some rest because not only were they pitching, they were pitching 20-plus pitches and outing. Estrada on back-to-back days. Morihone, I think they're trying to save him as much as well. My point being is that if Pivetta gets in any trouble and he's out in the 5th inning or whatever, you're probably going to see guys like Wandy Peralta. David Morgan is absolutely nasty. John, you need to pay attention to David Morgan. Absolutely nasty, but again, still a rookie. So you're going to be seeing I'm pretty sure you're going to be seeing the lower level guys from this Padres bullpen. Again, unless it's something crazy happens. But I think that both teams can definitely give up a couple runs here. 7 is so low. But yeah, I did place over 7 at minus 118 on DK.
John?
I had wrote to you San Diego F5 because at the time they were plus 105, and I thought getting Pivetta at plus money was kind of a steal. But you really nailed it. My model is with you. Not to say I'm screaming to the over,
Right.
but it doesn't take much to get you to it. Right, it's usually when I say 4 plus 4 equals 9. This is a 3 plus 3 equals 7. So if you can get an 0-7, I think we get both of these teams to, 3 runs in regulation, which gets you to 7 by definition. I've got them both at 3 3/4 runs, which again, they're listed at like even money around the team total. So yeah, I'm with you. The math on the total 0-7 seems to check out. I don't know, that number that I'm on the San Diego F5 is now moved. Now it's minus 112, and that 22 cents a difference might get me off it. I didn't want to pay a tax. I like the plus money on Pivetta to kind of roll the dice on a Padres offense that, I'll be honest, I'm a huge Tatis guy. And I like this offense. I jock Jackson Merrill, but they're really not doing it right now. They're really not. And you watch them, they look fucking listless. And if it weren't for the Rockies, the Padres would also be on one of the worst offenses this last week. They're batting 203, 566 OPS. I mean, 50% ground ball, 65 WRC plus. That's over 200 plate appearances. They have not looked good for at least a week.
Something to keep in mind is yesterday's game. The final score was 3-2. One of those runs came in extra innings, so there's only 4 runs in regulation. Something to keep in mind: the teams combined were 3 of 18 with runners in scoring position. So even though it was 2-2 in regulation, very easily could have been a 4-3, 5-3 baseball game. 3
of 18. I wonder
18.
if there's a double result here, like F5U4, FGO7, right? Like it. The 2 pitchers are good through 5. Kind of do their thing. It's 2-1. No one's right. Under cashes, you're far from dead on an 07 at 2-1 with 2 bullpens in this kind of shitty condition. So
Isn't the wind blowing out too? Check the wind, Sauce. I just clicked it. Is there wind blowing out?
Yeah, but
big wind blowing out. I don't know what to make of it.
No.
I can't tell. I clicked the X on accident right when I pulled it up.
There is decent amount of wind blowing out, but it's still the bottom in terms of run index. This ballpark defies physics. There could be
I was just
100-mile-an-hour winds blowing out, and it would just blow into the air and just get stuck. And
then it goes, takes a left-hand turn.
No, he's not wrong. Kevin,
it's like
Kevin
tornado
Ruff, I
winds.
trust very much at roto-grinders. Right, I'm not a meteorologist, but I try to trust those who are. He makes sure to cover that all the time. The note on safe rain is really short. Winds out to left over 50 miles an hour in a ballpark that minimizes wind impact. Yes. Right, he's telling you don't overreact.
I don't care about wind blowing out in this ballpark.
Why? I don't understand. 17 is generally. I don't like to overreact to people that go nuts for 4 or 5 miles an hour wind. I think they're mistaken. People also do that for football with kicking and shit, which is probably wrong. Once you get to 13 and above as far as wind, especially blowing out, I start to look 17, and this is the one park you're like, I don't care if it's 25. I'm not moving the model.
Oh, don't insult people who bet kicking props in front of Toast.
That was unnecessary. That's all I have to say. I'm not going to...
Toast, the only thing he bets in the NFL is kicker props. Claims to be good at it. Twins on the road against the A's.
What kicker prop? Like what over...
Dude, don't even...
over like a
Have you
match
not-
field goal.
Have you not seen the intro to this show? Toast kicking props is like some world is flat stuff.
So,
Yo, I'm
it's
all over it.
It's
What does a
it's
kicking prop even
garbage,
mean?
is what it
What
is.
does that look like?
Like over 7.5
field
kicking
goals,
points, over 1.5
extra
field goals
points.
made.
Oh my
Whatever
God.
you like.
It's
I hope you
disgusting.
shower after that.
It's disgusting, and
don't.
the
I
worst.
need to shower after that.
You know what the worst part of it is? He actually hits them. So like,
Oh, I love it. Oh, I fucking love it. Yes, let's go. Let's go.
yeah, it's awful. All right,
Kicking props.
it's
Yo,
it's
our
rock
wives
bottom.
think we're crazy
You've
cheering for this
you've
shit.
made some poor decisions in life if you've made it to the point where you're placing kicker prop. Twins on the road against the A's in Sacramento. So it looks like, okay, when we were talking about this game last night, we didn't talk about this game last night because Jeffrey Springs wasn't confirmed as the starter, but now he is. It's definitely going to be Jeffrey Springs.
Wait, he is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I RotoWire has
Everything
Jack
that I see-
Perkins opening up.
No, I'm on RotoWire. It says Jeffrey Springs.
I was gonna say, yeah, I see RotoWire and on Baseball Reference.
I
I mean,
I'll
who knows
refresh
at
it.
this point? Maybe that's the reason. I don't know.
Oh, you're right. No, you're right. I had to refresh it again. That's another one. I when the names are coming up and down, I'm like, oh, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. So Toast, have you looked at this game? Because this wasn't up when we talked about it last night.
Yeah, I looked at it a little bit. The only thing that I'm not betting Oakland or anything like that, but this whole, I mean, the Twins on the road have decent numbers, but they have been terrible versus left-handed pitching. That being said, Jeffrey Springs has kind of been like super hit or miss. I know he had a couple decent starts of his life in the division versus, or I'm sorry, not in the division, on the road against the Dodgers in San Francisco. But his last two against Philly and Toronto, really not impressive. Only 2 innings against Toronto. I don't expect him to be that bad at all. But at the same time, Zebby Matthews has been pretty damn good himself. But this Oakland team continues to find ways to hit right-handed pitching and just lose games. So as far as the side is concerned, it'd only be Minnesota just because they continue to find Oakland continues to find ways to lose games. So I think that I guess the over makes sense as far as the total is concerned, but I don't really like that just because I do think that Jeffrey Springs could actually somewhat pitch well here today. I would love to come on here and say Oakland is the play. I just don't have the balls to do it. So it's just an easy pass for me. I have no idea what to think. I've been trying to find ways to bet the A's for 2 weeks now, and they are literally 1-19 their last 20 games.
That's
you cannot
so
bet this team.
nuts, dude.
You cannot bet this team right now. You cannot do
They
it.
need Billy Bean back, bro.
Dude,
John,
so bad.
thoughts on the game here?
Yeah, I think Oakland, Sacramento, by way of Las Vegas, whatever the fuck they are, they probably could have done a better job scouting Springs before they brought him in. Because I don't think he's a bad pitcher, but I think bringing in this style of pitcher into this environment was a huge mistake, right? So Springs is not a velo guy, right? He sits like 89, 90, so he's not going to be putting it past anybody. He's also an extreme fly ball pitcher, which has just absolutely killed him, right? The kind of stylistics just don't really match here, and that stuff has been bearing out in all the stats, right? Springs has a...
I also
Go ahead.
think it doesn't help that he doesn't have very much pitch mix. He's relying on a fastball and a slider. That's all he has. So
And
if his
it's not a
fastball's
good
not hitting, they
pitch
can
either,
just
right.
sit on that slider and just wait for it.
I mean, and the fastball you're talking about, that I mentioned at 90 miles an hour, which you're alluding to, he throws more than 42% of the time, has an 87 stuff plus. And just really quick for people, just so you understand, stuff plus is unlike WRC plus. When you hear WRC plus, every tick, right, every one is 1% better than average, right? Toast's analysis plus is 10 at 110 is 10% better than the average knucklehead. But stuff plus is not that. Every 10 is a standard deviation. So when you see an 87, it's like off the page bad. That's not a pitch you should be throwing 40% of the time. In particular, when you have a 47% fly ball rate, he's given up 9 home runs to righties. So that was my pick. I do agree with Toast. It's probably Twins the over or nothing. I have Carlos Correa to hit a home run at plus 500 today. He has killed lefties whenever he's on the field. He has a 306 BA, 1037 OPS, 14.5 barrel. That's a 431 X-Woba and 4 Shamalama Ding Dongs for Carlos Correa against a guy who's just serving up kind of meatballs. And whenever you bet hitting props, similar to, it sounds like something Sauce would say, because it's the truth, you got to be aware of being on the road because you want the ninth frame. So we're going to get the ninth frame against a bullpen that has just been a big, right? The Athletics bullpen is a big part of the reason that they're 1-19. They have an 8 ERA across the last 49 and 2/3, which is just mind-blowing. A bullpen that all of us, and we weren't wrong at the time, or I don't think we're stupid, but we like to start the season. There's a couple of nice-looking arms in that bullpen, but they've objectively stunk. So I think you're in a good spot to kind of attack the A's.
I like that Correa play. It's his OPS versus lefties is unbelievable, especially, and that's going back like 2-3 years now. So
yeah, if the total bases is plus money, I probably like that. Also, one last tip on that: people don't pay minus money for total base stuff. You got to get plus money on total bases. But this would be a good spot to hit that also.
Last game up, Mets on the road against the Dodgers. I had said, well, when we were talking about this game, we were watching the 11th inning or whatever. So we obviously there was uncertainty as far as which bullpen arms, or I'm sorry, the 10th inning, not the 11th. There was uncertainty as far as which bullpen arms were going to be available. There's going to be no Tanner Scott for the Dodgers. Kasparius actually threw 28 pitches. I think they'll use him if they need him. But really, what I want to pull up is right here, because we didn't have this information last night. We were kind of trying to piece it together live. Now looking at this, you're not going to see Brasban, probably not going to see Budo. He's 3 of the last 4. Reed Garrett, 2 of the last 3, 19 pitches. Mets are thin in the bullpen. You're going to have Edwin Diaz, but even he's thrown 3 of the last 5, so he's not completely rested.
Yeah, that's not.
So you're going to have Diaz. You're going to have Stanek. The Mets can get to 2. They got 2 innings out of their bullpen. You're only going to see Diaz if they're winning. So if the Mets aren't winning in the 9th, you're not going to see Edwin Diaz. So which means you're going to see Castillo in this game. There's a lot of ifs. If Griffin Canning doesn't have it, the Mets might be throwing out Brandon Waddell, whatever the hell you say. This guy right here, they might be throwing him out there again if Griffin Canning doesn't pitch. So yesterday I said Mets team total over. I think the best decision would just be go to the full game over, because you add in the Mets bullpen situation, and we should see some runs from the Dodgers as well. So last night I said Mets team total over or pass. I would just go full game over. The reason I don't have this bet is first 2 games of this series had a lot better weather in terms of scoring runs. Dodger Stadium's actually towards the bottom today in terms of run index. They're actually a negative 6%. Which is 11th on the list today. Oh, I'm sorry, 12th on the list today of ballparks, and that's not usual. I mean, that's not normal for Dodger Stadium. They're usually pretty conducive for scoring runs, so it's not the greatest weather for scoring runs. I still think they get up and over. I don't have a bet on the game. Obviously, I'm rooting for the Mets to win, being a Mets fan, but it'd be over or pass for me. John?
I was waiting to hear your analysis because, to be honest, and I cover a lot of this stuff, so I'm never really ashamed to say when certain series just put my model and my whole shit in a blender, I just kind of fade this one. My model kept coming in like to the under, not crazy to the under, but to the under. The offenses are really good, but the totals keep skyrocketing and they keep hitting the over. I'd probably be with you on the full game over or nothing because the shape of the bullpens and just the quality of at-bats these teams put up, which is what makes them so difficult to go under on, right? The Dodgers and the Mets also don't like to sacrifice ABs. They've got good hitters on both sides of the ball. They become very hard to match up with late in games. Not like there's an answer to fucking Ohtani or Soto or even Alonso, you know what I mean? So yeah, to me it's over or nothing, but I probably wouldn't touch this one because I think Canning and Gonsolin are both good and could give you 6 innings, 2 earned, and then it's going to be hard to get to 10.
Toast?
Yeah, it would be over or pass. I didn't play this yet. I might play if I have a decent day since this game is later. Might dabble in a team total or something later. But both these team totals are at 4.5. The Dodgers one's juiced up. I said last night, I just don't know what to think of Griffin Canning. He's been so fantastic. He's coming off of one starter versus the Dodgers was rain delayed, and it says he gave up 3 runs. We talked about it last night. I think that he probably had a chance to get Freddie Freeman out, but he didn't. They sent somebody else in there. He gave up 2 hits, or he gave up a hit. That's some of his runs. And then obviously didn't look good against the White Sox, but I just can't decide in my head. And I don't know if he's going to continued to be the can man that we've seen so far this year, or if he's going to fizzle out a little bit and be more of a closer to like a 4 ERA guy. I'm just not really sure. I do think that the Dodgers could get to him if there is a team that can get to him. I mean, they saw him earlier this year. Again, it's very short, and they saw him last year. He pitched pretty well against them last year, but I will say his 2 starts against the Dodgers this year and last year, he had 4 walks, and he had 4 walks against the White Sox as well. So if control is starting to be an issue, obviously that can be a problem. And then as Tony the Cat Gonsolin is concerned, I always am going to have a soft spot in him for that run and him paying our rent in 2022. I'll never forget that. I just don't know if he's nearly as bad as what his last 3 starts have shown. I mean, getting blown up by that Angels team looked bad at the time, but now when we look back on it, that was a week where the Angels got to everybody. So, okay, so what? He gave up 4 runs in 5 innings against the Mets. Obviously, not a great start. And then the Yankees got to him. But do I really think that he's going to consistently be that bad? Personally, no. But at the same time, he has really struggled with lefty bats so far this year in his career. Not really as bad against lefties, but this year so far, 416 WOBA, 178 whips, over a 6 xFIP, and you're going to have guys like Lindor, Nimmo, Soto, Jacob Young, Brett Beatty, Jeff McNeil, all batting from the left-hand side. So it's just really, for me, it's just really hard for me to make a case that he pitches fantastic. So it's only over a pass for me. Sorry for being long-winded.
No worries. That's the end. John, where can they find your stuff?
Follow me on Twitter on the Bird app at John Laghezza, JOHNLEGHEZZA. And then I just streamline, all my bullshit. I'm actually got a streamline writing job at Athlon. They made me senior betting director over there, which is a little strange if people trust me because I'm fucking out of my mind. But hey, thanks. Follow my stuff. Check out the Substack and Twitter handle. And yo, man, I love hanging out with you guys. I will clear the calendar for you guys any day, anytime.
Appreciate it.
All right, you guys enjoy your day. I'm going to do the community parlay for those that want to stick around.
Peace.
Later. The ones stick around.
Peace.
Later. One sec. For some reason, the song freezes when I try it the first time. So now let's do it.
Community parlay, the parlay we bet, yeah. Community parlay is for the community. We community, making a parlay. Yeah, 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 yeah.
All right. Cast your votes. What's the first leg? Oh, one sec. While you guys are voting on that, betting league standings. In the Cheaters Paradise division, Ballhard's in first, plus 6.51 units. She's got a good lead there, Ballhard, followed by Sturge and Taylor Made. In Wisconsin's Stank division, Nick Daddy Johnson's in first, followed by Brett Scully, Kevin McIver. In BDSM Dungeon, Gift Horse is at first place, followed by We Love Boobies and School's Out. Let's go down to the Southern Conference here. In the Deborah Morgan division, Scoop is in first, followed by Jim Musama and Money. In the Rice Owls division, Wellesley's in first, followed by Jolly Green, Kez, and Playboy. And in the Bicycle East division, Sports Scientist Jacob has a 2-unit lead there over Moose and Hamilton bets. First leg of the community parlay is Cincinnati, the Reds. If Scoop's in first, that division must be trash. We're only 2 days in, so I'm sure Scoop will blow it. This one's Yankees by a landslide. All right. Cast your votes. What's the third leg? Going to be Tigers. And all right, let's see what the last leg is. We got all right, what's the last leg? Cast your votes. And the winner is, I'm ending the poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and poll. And the winner is Twins. So Reds, Yankees, Tigers, Twins. Let me get a price on that. Someone shout it out, please. Any minute now. I know it's delayed. Excuse me. Go on now. Don't be shy. Shout the number out in the comments if you can see it. $5.06 from Tinker. So community parlay: Reds money line, Yankees money line, Tigers money line, Twins money line plus 506. Obviously, bet it responsibly. This is not going to be a plus EV bet. I really hope you can figure that out on your own. Everyone, have a good day. If you're in the betting league, you have 5 hours and 40 minutes deadline, 6 p.m. Eastern time. See you.